Hey guys, so I know that I told you that I would give you a little bit of a brief tutorial on how to start your Rhino model, and then I realized that it would probably be a good idea um, if I also showed you how to do some of the measurements and some of the things that would be important. So this is that brief tutorial. Hopefully it helps some of you guys get started and know what to look out for. Okay, so I am kind of like a lot of you guys in a situation where I don't have a lot of tools or access to things. I don't even have that much paper. So the first thing that I did was I just grabbed a sheet of regular, lined paper, and I added my own grid to it. Super low key. It's not really perfect. I sort of, winged it and did it by hand. But this is what I'm going to use to sort of like keep track of my measurements um, and begin to create that plan for those elevations that we talked about that we need. So you guys can sort of see behind me, there's a wall that would be, let's say this is my room. This would be one of the walls that I would need to measure. So I'm just going to show you guys how to measure that wall, and then what to do from there. So I have a tape. Thankfully, I do have a tape. So I'm just going to be using it. And I'm going to just talk about some quick things to look out for. So I'm going to be moving back over there every once in a while, and then coming back to, annotate things on this piece of paper. So you guys can sort of follow me along. But essentially, I'm just going to come over and I'm going to measure, the distance from the wall to the window, and I get 18 inches. And I'm going to do the same thing here, and I get 18 inches again. And then, very quickly, I can also just take a measurement of the whole width of the room. And I know that now I just have that quick measurement, and it's 9 feet. So that would be maybe my first starting point, is I would know 9 feet, 18 inches, and 18 inches. So, going back to this thing, I just mark out, and I think I'm gonna decide that each one of my little squares is a 6-inch by 6-inch. So 9 feet would be 18 feet wide. So I would just basically count those off. So let me just do that really fast. Okay, perfect. So I marked those 2 points off, and now I also know that 18 inches and 18 is 3 of those 6-inch markers. So I can mark that off, and I can mark that off. So basically, what I have so far is I've just located points in space, knowing sort of where things are. So that would be the outline of that back wall. So now I know, I'm going to just quickly draw it, that there is a wall there that then turns down and becomes, I don't know quite yet the length of this wall over on my left or the one on my right, but I do know what the length of the back wall is. So I can, at least locate those other walls in space as well. Right, so it would look something, so far I've delineated that corner, right? And I know that in between there is a window, in this case, a full height window, right? So I can just sort of draw that there, okay? Of course, I would actually also, when I take photos or take measurements, other things that I would note for, in this case, for example, are the mullions, the width and the height of the mullions and of the foot kick guard on the floor, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and go take those measurements really fast. So I would just measure this here, and this is 5 inches, and then the width of this is 3.5 inches, right? So now I can, in this drawing, and I usually will do a mixture of writing notes and making a drawing. So in this drawing, I will note that there's a 3.5 inch width jamb on the door. So I would just like mark that as 3.5 on both sides, 3.5. You know, I've just sort of like drawn it just really quickly, just like that, right? So now I just have a sense of where those things are in space. And then obviously you can sort of hear there's this center piece, which is that column. So I would just measure and locate that. I know that it's in the center. I just need to know how wide it is, okay? So I would go back, measure this, and I notice that it's 8 inches. And that the door actually sits 4 inches in, like, inset from the wall, right? So now I can go back to this and locate the center on my drawing. And I can now quickly draw 4 inches in either direction to make my 8 inch, and I'm just gonna note it here so that I remember 8 inches, and I know that it goes 4 inches back. 4 inches back. So now I know kind of exactly what this back wall looks like. And I'm going to note this as well as 4 inches here. So all of a sudden, very quickly, you know, that's the outline of that back wall, right? So now I know what that back wall looks like in plan, right? So now I need to understand what that back wall looks like in elevation. So in elevation, we know that the width is going to be the exact same. So we know that this dimension is the same. We just now need to figure out how tall it is, right? So I'm actually going to draw the elevation down here, okay? But you know, if you guys have more space, you could also draw it up here, right? So I would know that the elevation is the same width, so I can just mark off that width somewhere. At the bottom, you can just bring my lines and trace my lines down. So I'm just going to mark that as a line down here. And I also know that, you know, the location where the wall starts going up. So, you know, I've just marked that as a line right there, the same width as the top. And I know that, you know, that point and that point and that point and that point all, you know, match up. That's where the wall and the door and the column door wall are, right? So I can mark those and then just start drawing those lines vertically. And then I can go and measure the height of them, right? So I know this. So I know that that's the beginning. The bottom of it looks a little bit like that, where this is a wall, that's a door, column, door, wall, right? And remember how we took that measurement of the kick, and so we knew that it's 5 inches, so I know that that goes across right there, 5 inches. So I know that that's a thing that is 5 inches right there, and right here, you know, so I can kind of start saying, oh, that's what that's gonna look like, right? And now I can go and measure the height of the room. And of course, I know you guys can't see the full height, but I will go ahead and quickly take a measurement of that and then measure the height of the door. And then that's basically all the measurements I need for that wall. So I come over here, measure the height. And it's exactly 9 feet. And I can also measure the door, and the door is going to be, my guess is that the door is going to be exactly 8 feet, and it is. So now I know. So now I know what the height of both of those is. So now I can finish out this drawing, right? So I know that I have to go 8 feet up. So that's 16. Okay, and I would say don't spend too much time, you know, with this much more so than I just did, because that's why you're still in your room. So you're going to be looking at it as we start building that digital model. We're going to be able to look at it and add additional information as we go along, right? So that's an important thing to remember. So far, here we go. And my two drawings slightly started running into each other, but I think, you know, for my own purposes, I can understand. Right, so there is that elevation with that little plan above it, right? So now I know what the wall looks like and what the floor plan at that portion begins to look like, right? So this is the first part of this tutorial, right? So now I have to take this information and put it and build a three-dimensional model in Rhino.